Well, hello, everybody. I'm trying something new today. It is a simultaneous live stream of my Facebook, of my Fearlessly Feral podcast on Facebook. So we'll see how this works. I hope that you're going to enjoy this, and we'll just see how this new technology works. I'm a taker, and I just saw the button and it said record and do live stream, and so that's what I'm doing. So I have a podcast for you today, and yeah, it looks like we're live streaming, but I can't see everything all at once. So anyway, I've got several windows open on my computer here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Fearlessly Feral Living, broadcasting to you from the Woogie Ranch out here in the back 40 of northwestern Nevada, where I'm a half an hour away from the nearest gas station and the nearest grocery store. This is a podcast devoted to revealing practical ways to apply new thought principles and practices to ensure successful, creative living. Fearlessly Feral is a focused ministry of Centers for Spiritual Living and is devoted to the vision of a world in which everyone lives fearlessly feral, or in other words, wild and free. And our mission is to facilitate successful living. Our purpose is to transcend, in other words, to live beyond the ordinary. And I love that. And our vision is a world in which everyone lives wild and free. And while I'm here, I just want to add that the application of spiritual principles and practices has always been implied in this podcast. But now I'm going to get a little bit more specific with it because I've got a new book. And the book is called How to Live Fearlessly Feral. And this book is divided into three sections. It has a section on spiritual principles and a section on spiritual practices. And then the third section is where the Woogie part of the book is. The third section is a year-long guide. It takes a deep dive into a principle and a practice each month. So that by the end of the year, you've got these things down. You are living them. You're not just parroting them. You're not just saying them. You are feeling them. You are embodying them. You are giving concrete form to them. So the book is available through me at this point. It is not yet available on Amazon. I don't know what the delay is. I've started making some noise with my publisher and calling and poking at people. So hopefully it'll be available on Amazon soon. Right now, you can get a signed author's copy from me. And if you want one of those, let me know. So from now on in this podcast, no matter what topic I cover, I'm also going to cover a principle and a practice, at least one of each, and direct you to those principles and practices. Now, there's not enough time in a podcast episode to teach you how to do these things within the episode. So I'm kind of sneaky that way sometimes. Got to buy the book to figure it out. So let's dive into the topic today, huh? How many times have you said, I hate people? How many times have you heard someone else say, I hate people? I know I've said it from time to time, believe it or not. I know I've heard other people say it. I see the phrase everywhere. I see memes about it. I see jokes about it. But here's the deal on saying something like this or feeling something like this. Hating others is like drinking poison and expecting the persons or the people you hate to die. It's as simple as that. In other words, hatred only harms us, it never harms them. So why bother? Why bother even going there? Why bother saying, I hate people? I'd rather just stay home alone, which I've said sometimes. Why bother? Well, it's because there's some payoffs there. There's some powerful motivations behind a consciousness that says, I hate people. These motivations include feeling a certain sense of power and a certain sense of superiority. Plus, if we embody the consciousness of hating people, then we can keep ourselves separate from them, which there's a certain amount of safety inherent in keeping ourselves separate from people. However, those feelings of power and superiority don't last long. They're only temporary. They mask our true selves, and they prevent us from living in integrity with ourselves and with our values. And if we allow ourselves to stay in that place of hatred long enough, that hatred will come back and bite us in the ass every single time. It bites us in the ass in the form of either a physical or a psychological illness. So today I'm just going to talk a little bit about how not to do that. Not in detail because there's not enough time. Your assignment with this episode of this podcast, if you choose to accept it, is to turn that hatred into love. And I'm going to invite you to do so by learning and applying some principles and doing some practices. And the principles are the law of attraction and love. And the practices are introspection, loving it all, and treatment. Now, if you don't know what treatment is, you got to listen to the previous episodes on the podcast. Oh, look, there's a kitty back there. There's Walter. Some of you know Walter. Walter is almost world famous these days. Anyway, treatment. If you don't know what treatment is, it's affirmative prayer. And I have 4 episodes on treatment on my podcast. Go listen to them. You'll be glad you did. It's powerful, powerful stuff. So it might seem like a lot, but stick with me here because these things all tend to connect pretty seamlessly. And I'm going to begin with the practices. Introspection, which leads to personal self-awareness. Now, I've had many of my peers tell me that they do not feel that self-awareness or introspection is a spiritual practice. And I completely and totally and 100% disagree with that strongly. In fact, introspection is my key spiritual practice. It's my go-to spiritual practice. It's the one I do every single day without fail. So I couldn't even begin to approach living fearlessly feral until I was able to consistently and persistently know who I was, what my beliefs were, what my values were, and what I was feeling at any given moment. I just couldn't. I was shut down. I didn't feel anything at all. So personal self-awareness through the practice of introspection is very, very important to me in my life. My opinion is that we must be aware of our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs and our values. We have to be aware of our true natures. We have to be true to ourselves. I mean, how many times have you heard that expression? Be true to yourself. To thine own self be true. You've got to know yourself. You have to. The other part of knowing yourself is that when we go within, that's where we get to go and know that force, that power, that spirit, that energy, that capitalized love, that larger self, the capitalized self. Some people call it God. I don't care what you call it. I kind of want to stay away from calling it God because it's some people get activated by the word, and I realize they've got some healing to do when they're activated by the word. I used to be activated by the word, but it doesn't matter what you call it. What matters is that it is within each and every one of us. In fact, I'm going to take it a step further and say that we are each a unique and individualized manifestation of spirit. I get that directly from Ernest Holmes. So how are we supposed to know God unless we know ourselves? It's a win-win. It's a twofer. We go within, we know God, we know ourselves, and life gets pretty good when we do that. When we do that. So we go within, we know ourselves, we know God, Now, when we start to know ourselves, we find some things we might like about ourselves, and we might find some things we might not like about ourselves. And here's where the practice of loving it all comes in, because we get to love it all. We get to love it all. Not all that stuff out there. I'm talking about what's inside of us, our thoughts, our beliefs, our values. We love it all. And if there's something in there that we feel like we might need to fix or change, guess what? We don't have to do any of that. Because if we love it, it says, oh, I feel so loved. And it loses its power and it goes away. And guess what? Once it has that, then we're free. Then we move into affirmative prayer or treatment, and we move into that beautiful creative process, which is another spiritual practice, by the way. And we create and we imagine and we envision and we vision what we want to see in our life instead. And we take all that love we're feeling and we create some new stuff. And that, in a nutshell, is how we move from I hate people to loving it all to embodying love. And this thing called the law of attraction. So if we're walking around hating people, guess what? We're going to attract other people that hate people. Now, how healthy is that? It's not very healthy at all. But if we're walking around on this earth feeling whole and complete, and we're loving it all, guess what? We're going to attract that into our life. I don't know about you, but I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that. So that's the law of attraction in a nutshell there. And love, of course, love is something that has been practiced and talked about and preached about throughout the generations. I mean, Buddhism says hatred is one of three poisons. In Christianity, hatred is the antithesis, is everything that Jesus taught. Believe it or not. Hinduism teaches that if we hate others, we're also hating God, because God is in everyone. So, love it all. Ernest Holmes said in his book called The Art of Life that love is natural and hate is unnatural. In order to heal hatred, we must learn to love. So that's the message I leave you with today. Learn to love. I hope you've enjoyed this short little podcast. Fearlessly Feral Living is a focus ministry of Centers for Spiritual Living, and you can support us in a bunch of different ways, and your support is fully tax deductible. You can donate at PayPal or on my Fearlessly Feral Living page. I'd also encourage you to check out YouTube, and of course I'm on Facebook, and the podcast itself, you can listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts. So I'm going to try and back out of this thing here. Let's see. So here's Facebook Live. Let me close this one. And I guess I'm just going to close the window. And then let me go over here and stop the recording and say goodbye for now. And thank you once again. And thank you for your patience in this new technical thing. We'll see how this worked.